What is up, my friends? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to be exploring the new Parallax plugin from Neural DSP. Pretty awesome. You have the basic amplifier here. Well, I shouldn't say basic because you pretty much have an entire effects chain here to work with, which is pretty cool. And then we have our tab section here, so you can load in your own IRs if you want, or you can use a bunch of different microphones that it comes with. You can change position, distance, level, phase, so quite a bit of flexibility to work with the sound. You have a built-in gate, which is nice. You can adjust the input. Great. So we have a lot of toys to play around with, and the different modules here in, I guess, what we'll call our amplifier section, because this is basically our amplifier. So we're going to be, it lets us split our bands into 3 distinct sections, which we would do when we're processing a DI for a mix. Normally, well, how I was taught to do it, and how a lot of other guys typically tend to do it, they'll either split it into 2 different bands or 3 different bands and process the low end, keep the low end really nice and clean. You don't really want any distortion and stuff like that on your low end. You want that nice, clean, punchy, you don't want to be distorting your subwoofers and things like that. You want it clean. And then for your mid, that's where you can add distortion, saturation, depending on what kind of sound you want. You can really define your tone nicely using the mid section there. So depending on what you're after, you can have a really aggressive midsection, or you can pull a lot of the mids out if you have a lot of other instruments happening and you just want your bass to just kind of fill in the low end. A lot of flexibility. You can do that really easily by just moving a couple of things in this plugin. So I think that's really great. It saves you a lot of time overall, which I think is the big winner when it comes to using Parallax, is the overall time you save dialing in a tone. So you don't have to load in a bunch of different plugins. You don't have to split bands. In Studio One, it's pretty easy if you have the Pro Edition, because we have the built-in plugin splitter, so you can separate the one track into different frequencies really easily and apply different effects to those specific frequency bands. But this is even easier because you don't even have to do that. You just load the plugin, boom, you're good to go. That's awesome. And then you can automate all this stuff as well, which is great. So in different sections, in a lighter section, you might not want the top end distortion on the strings to get that string sound, because you don't have a lot of stuff going on. Your mix might not be as dense, so you don't need the bass to have as much top end to kind of pop through on smaller speakers, especially. Kind of turn that off or turn it down, automate that, and then if you pop into a chorus or whatever, you can bring that back in, and it'll help keep the bass prominent and audible in a big dense mix. So that's really cool. So down here we have our equalizer, we have high distortion, mid distortion, low compression. So the low compression, mid distortion, high distortion, we got our 3 distinct bands. So our low section here, this is for our clean low end. We have our mid distortion here, kind of really defines our overall bass sound, and then the high distortion kind of how much definition do we want to help kind of bring it out on smaller speakers, or just kind of go for a really grindy metal sound. That's kind of part of that you can achieve that really easily with this section here. And then we have our EQ. So overall, the final kind of tone shaping section here, you can really pull out offending frequencies. You can add in some character depending on what you want to do, what kind of sound you're going for. The equalizer definitely allows you to get there, or at least really, really damn close. And it really helps to have a great DI to start with. So I'm using Eurobass II by Submission. I really like it. It goes down all the way to like E0 or something like that. I forget, but it goes super low. So this is just the bass DI. So sounds really good, a lot better than I could record. So I don't really even bother trying to record bass anymore after getting Eurobass, because it just sounds much better than what I'll do. And one annoying thing with Parallax that I will note, at least in Studio One here on Windows, is that if I have this window open, my graphical user interface, my GUI in Studio One doesn't update properly. So you can see I'm turning on and off these inserts, but it doesn't update correctly. So I actually have to close this window, then it works properly, which is kind of dumb and annoying. Hopefully they'll fix that in a subsequent patch. I don't know if it's a Studio One issue or a Neural DSP issue, but I should probably contact them and let them know about that if they aren't already aware. So let's listen. So this is my full chain. Pretty awesome. I like it. So this is the same DI that I used in my previous video, checking out the Ampeg V4B. So if you haven't checked that out, head on over there, check it out. That's another new bass amp VST that came out recently, about the same time as Parallax. So definitely worth comparing the two, see what vibe you're after. I'm not going for too much top end grind on this. I'm gonna have really aggressive fuzzed out guitars on this side, so I'll still be reshaping the bass and stuff, but it kind of gives you a good idea of what I'm going after. Alright, I have to say, it was really easy to dial in the overall bass sound. Like, I think Neural did a great job with this, and it's a really good foundation for getting your overall idea out really quickly. So let's close this and let's kind of just listen to Parallax by itself. And then let's check out what we're doing here with the different plugins, just so you get an idea of my overall effects change. So first we apply a little bit of compression. Well, a little bit too much there. But back a bit. That's definitely gonna have to definitely automate that in the final version. But yeah, some compression there. We got some EQ going on. I like add a little bit of this kind of, I don't know, sounds good to me on this. Pulling out a little bit of that, pulling out a little bit of that, pull out a little bit of that, kind of just give a little bit more of a defined spot in the mix. And then next up is this bad boy from Slate. Get pretty aggressive with this thing. And it gives you a huge fat low end. Hear that? Like, these are pretty much the settings that I use all the time, the attack and release here. So you can just copy that about 3.0 on the attack, fastest release, and then you just adjust the input until the low end is where you want it to be. That's basically what I do. 4-to-1 ratio. Yeah, keep it simple. And then our limiter here at the end, just to kind of make the bass sit a little bit more in one spot and not move around as much. Yeah, let us explore Parallax on its own now. We'll explore all these different modules and kind of hear what it does. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. Like I said, my GUI is not going to update properly, so ignore what's going on here. This isn't going to be working. So this is the equalizer. And here it's doing quite a bit to shape the sound. We can add or pull away frequencies that we like or don't like, depending on what you're after. But great flexibility here. And we have our high distortion here. This is really to get that kind of top end stringy sound into your bass if you're after that. you get aggressive with it, it really kind of starts to fuzz out, which can be pretty cool if you're going after that kind of sound. It can also be used more in a subtle fashion. And you can move this around a lot, so really target where you want the distortion to start. It's great and really easy to do. As you can see, I'm just grabbing this, moving it around. It would be nice if I could just use my scroll wheel to adjust the drive. That'd be super convenient. Then I could move this around, hit my scroll wheel, boom, and that would make adjusting this so fast. But they don't have that, so that's alright. And it doesn't seem like any of the modifiers let me do that. I'm hitting like Shift, Control, and Alt doesn't work. Oh well. The mid is fixed, so you'll have a lot of, depending on what you're going after. Buzz it out if you want. Oh, that sounds fucking mean. Yeah. And then the low end here. As you can hear, you turn it off, you lose all your low end. Oh. You can really define where you want the low end to sit. How much of the low mids you want to bring into there as well. Pretty cool. Yeah, it doesn't take much to dial in an overall sound, and I feel like this might be a lot easier than using an actual amp VST, because you don't have really any knobs and stuff that you really have to worry about aside from basically the compression, mid and high drive. But you really hear what those knobs do anyways, so it's pretty easy to follow what is going on with your ears as well as with your eyes. I think that's really important. Sometimes, you know, you have a bunch of toggles and this and that, and if you don't have the best speakers, you won't really hear what they might be adding or subtracting. But yeah, so that's basically it for the amp section. Then we have our simple cap section. There's not much to it. You can move the position, distance, things like that. You know, if you want to pull get a little more reverb or kind of roomy sound, you know, you can do that. And then you have different microphones that you can pick, which is pretty cool. But overall, I wish you have different speaker options. I think that would really add a lot to the overall package of Parallax. I mean, it's already really great, and you can get a pretty awesome sound after you play around with it. I didn't find a lot, like, it comes with a lot of presets, but I don't know, I find going through presets kind of to be whatever. Everybody's got their own sound in their head, so I think you're better off just kind of playing around with everything and seeing what you can do with it. Overall, I like it. I haven't picked it up yet. I'm still using the trial, but we'll see. Maybe when it goes on sale or something, I'll pick it up. I already have the Dark Glass VST and the two other, the Fortin ones, so definitely like the Neural stuff, and I think this should be in my arsenal because overall I think it will definitely speed up the workflow. So that's basically it for Parallax by Neural DSP. If you're interested in it, just go over to their website, download the demo, load it up, try it out, and see what you think. And that's really the best way to figure out if it's for you or if it's not for you. Overall, I think it's a great package for bass. There's a lot of great options out there already. Overall, like the Softube bass amp room has been around for a long time, and you can get a ton of amazing sounds out of that. If you like this video, do the awesome thing, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I will be back at you soon with another video.